GK. So we do something a little bit different. I'm not going to write up the game preview because I'm running just a little bit late getting down to Tacoma. We're going to talk about it while I'm driving. So, just got done looking at the Herald's predictions. Like all 15 of their guys are picking GK. They did have a nice spread though, I'll give them that much. I'm not a huge fan of the Herald, but maybe go take a look at that if you want to read some print. You can get some alternative ideas. The big news that we can report now is that Grayson Murrin will not be playing for the Vikings. They'll be without their senior quarterback today. Colton Matson, the freshman who's not even in high school yet, will be starting in the state title game. Grayson broke his collarbone or something like that at the end of the game against Eastlake. Colton Matson played the last two series, I think, and Gray got checked out during the week, and he's out. He's got a long rehab process in front of him, so which is really sad for him, and sad for him on a couple levels because one, he's trying to get recruited. Two, he's a great basketball player, and he's going to miss some time there, not the whole season. Three, obviously, he'd love to be out there. That said, Colton Matson has already won 2 playoff games. He's got 2 varsity starts in his life, and he won both of them. And he went 24 of 27 for 455 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions in Grayson's absence. So he's no slouch. I'm sure by now GK is out on the field and has noticed that they're playing a freshman. If they didn't find out earlier in the week, which despite the fact that there was a seal on it reporting on his injury, I didn't see it in print anywhere. The word probably got to GK, I'm guessing. So they may be making some changes on their defense. I would be guessing that they're going to be bringing more pressure against Colton than they would be against Grayson. So evaluating the matchup, GK is 13-0, Lake Stevens is 11-0. GK has been number 1 in 4A opinion polls the whole season. They've bullied everybody down in the SPSL. If you're not aware, Graham is like a suburb of Tacoma. So they're basically playing a home game today at Mount Tahoma High School. They have some athletes, some recruited athletes. They've got a couple guys on the line, at least one of which is going to UW. And then their quarterback is an Eastern commit. They've bullied everybody around, like I was saying. They play a real aggressive brand of football. They have an old school kind of I formation, sometimes out of the pistol attack, but they do play with a fullback and a tight end, and they're a run-heavy attack. Their fullback is 260 pounds or something like that. Their quarterback can run a lot, and they're used to just smacking people in the mouth, literally and figuratively. They play on the borderline of dirty. There's late hits, there's helmet-to-helmet stuff, there's a lot of smack talking, and they haven't been held accountable on any of that yet this year. The Vikings are familiar with Graham Kapowsin, though. They've run into him multiple times in the playoffs, winning all but one game, I believe. They beat him as recently as 2018 in the playoffs, so the coaches know each other, and they kind of know what to expect. One thing I will say about the Vikings that's in their favor is, and I got to spend a lot of time around the team this week, the level of preparation that this coaching staff puts into getting the kids ready for the games is unbelievable, and it's on par with the high-level college program. Not only are the coaches great at breaking everything down, and not only do they spend all day Sunday writing a packet, putting together film, making a strategy, putting together something digestible for the kids, but they're able to teach at a super high level in the limited time they have, and give information that an average person wouldn't be able to digest to these kids, due to the fact that these kids have all been in the program since 7th grade for the most part. And Try and company has built a program that is layered down to at least 7th grade, and they're all running the same system. So it's not an exaggeration to say you could pull a 7th grader out today, and from what I hear, I mean, some of them might even be able to make it a play or two. They would understand the language, the formations, and the strategy being deployed on both sides of the ball, which is why, and part of the reason why people like Jay Sean Lamar and Colton Matson and Cassidy, kids who are still going to Cavallero, have either started in the playoffs as 9th graders or been a big factor. It's because the system is nothing new to them. They're familiar with it, and because of that, when you play a high-level team like GK and you need to implement some new strategies, and you want to, talk about that in a limited amount of time that you have, they don't need to start at the very beginning with, building blocks. They're talking at a high level because everybody understands their jobs. They understand the different calls. And so making tweaks in how they're going to address certain plays, certain looks is a lot easier when you've got 5-6 years of basically football university education to build upon. So what I'm trying to get at here is that the Vikings coaches have a strategy to attack what Graham Kapowsin does best. And well, it's fair to say that GK probably has some bigger horses as far as bulk, line, that sort of thing. It's also fair to say that our kids are going to know what to expect, and they're going to know how to beat it, in theory at least. The other thing is, I think, reading the Herald, where they all pick GK, there's just for some reason this leftover stigma, that these other schools have better athletes than Lake Stevens. And I'm telling you, they may have some bigger guys, but they don't have better athletes than Lake Stevens. I don't think anybody in the state has better athletes than Lake Stevens. Sure, their quarterback at GK is going to Eastern. Well, Drew Carter's going to Eastern, and he's not going for his offense, although he may end up playing offense. They recruited him as a defender. So we've got a Eastern Washington University safety to counteract their Eastern Washington University quarterback. Yeah, they've got some big guys on the line. One of them's going to UW. Well, Jaden Lamar is too good to go to UW. I mean, his brother is going to be too good to go to UW. They could go there if they wanted to, but Jaden's going to go to Notre Dame or, Georgia or, something like that, wherever the hell he wants. Jay Sean got offered by Arizona as a freshman, so he's already getting Pac-12 offers. So, yeah, they got a UW guy in the line. So did O'Day. O'Day had a couple of them. They don't have a running back as good as the one O'Day had. Jason Brown has already got offers from all over the West Coast. Their guys are good. My point being that Lake has seen good guys, and they prevailed this year. Glacier Peak has several guys going Pac-12. Kamiak doesn't have the recruiting numbers, but they were as tough as anyone this year. And Wesley Garrett, their wide receiver, I haven't seen anyone better than him, including the UW committed wide receiver on Emerald Ridge. That being, my point being that Lake Stevens has plenty of athletes. In fact, probably more than anybody. And so there's no reason to think that just because there's a freshman quarterback starting today that Lake Stevens isn't going to be in this game and have a chance to win it at the end. So what is Lake going to do on offense? They are going to look to get the ball in the hands of Trace Hanks, Jaden Lamar, and Jay Sean Lamar as much as possible. They're going to use their misdirection runs, which have never been stopped this year, and they're going to play their screen game. They're going to get the ball out quickly. Now, on the assumption that GK is going to be blitzing a lot, putting a lot of pressure on Colton. They counteract that with screens, counteract that with draws, jailbreak screens, that sort of stuff. If, in fact, they're holding off, Colton can pick apart his own. He'll do just fine. He's been an accurate passer. So Lake is going to score just like they have all year. The question is going to be, can they stop a Graham Kapowsin, hit him in the mouth running game that hasn't been stopped this year? And I'm betting that they'll get some stops. Which will bring us down to the deciding factor. And those of you who read my columns know what the deciding factor is going to be. It's going to be turnovers. I mean, this is basic math in football. You can watch all the NFL preview shows you want, college football shows you want. They'll break it down to the nth degree. Point of fact being that whoever wins the turnover battle is going to win the game more than 90% of the time. Each possession that you don't get that you need to make up for, especially if it leads to points, puts you further and further in the hole, especially percentage-wise. So whoever wins the turnover battle is probably going to win this game. And if Lake can get to +2 on the turnover margin, they'll definitely win this game. If they can keep it at +1, they've got a real good shot. If they're at even or less than even, it's going to be very tough to win. Basically in an away game, starting a freshman quarterback in the state title. That said, I think Lake has what it takes to win the turnover battle, to execute on offense, and to smack these guys in the mouth in the beginning and put them in a state of fear that they haven't been in all year. Their offense is designed to win games in which they're ahead. If they get behind, their quarterback, he's an Eastern commit, but he runs almost every third down, which is a passing down for other guys. Let's see if he can put the ball in the air against Lake's all conference corners and their Eastern Washington bound safety. I think that this is going to be the day that the Vikings bring home the state title and put it in that empty trophy case outside the football offices. So I'm going to go with Lake Stevens. 45 has been a good number this year. And the last time the Vikings beat Graham Kapowsin, I believe it was 45-28. They won 45-28 last week against Eastlake. Let's go with the Vikings bringing home the 4A state title, 45-28. This game total will go live around 3:30, and we'll have full coverage, highlights, and all that kind of stuff from the sidelines at Mount Tahoma High School field in Tacoma, Washington. Talk to you soon.